Every login, every continue with X button sits inside a much bigger identity ecosystem. In this module, we'll map that ecosystem, look at who really holds power, where incentives clash, and how today's identity infrastructure quietly shapes or breaks digital trust. Today's digital identity landscape is a patchwork of three very different worlds. Consumer services focus on growth and data, so they tend to prioritize convenience over assurance. Enterprises care about controlling internal access, auditability, and zero-trust security. Governments optimize for legal certainty, inclusion, and high-assurance trust. These models overlap, compete, and often conflict, creating friction, risk, and confusion for the people in the middle. Centralized identity is the classic. Every company has its own login model. Your data lives in separate silos, one for your bank, one for your retailer, one for your hospital. Each organization issues its own credentials, runs its own authentication, and guards its own logs. They gain control and a data advantage, but at the cost of fragmentation, duplicated effort, and more friction for users. Federated identity works more like a transit network for logins. Instead of every app checking your password directly, they send you to a central station that specializes in authentication. That station issues a ticket, an access token with claims about you, which the apps trust to grant access. This concentrates security expertise and reduces password sprawl, but it also centralizes power, deepens lock-in around the identity provider, and makes it easier to track people across many services. Centralized identity is like every service running its own private warehouse. Each builds sign-up, login, and recovery from scratch, which creates user friction, duplicated cost, and lots of separate credential honeypots to attack. Federated identity shifts that work to a central hub. Log in once, reuse everywhere. Experience improves, but your ecosystem now depends heavily on that hub's availability and security. When the hub fails or is breached, everyone downstream feels it. Enterprise identity functions like the organization's nervous system. At the bottom is a single directory, one source of truth about people and their attributes. On top of that, role-based access control turns job functions into permissions, so changing someone's role automatically reshapes what they can see and do. Then lifecycle governance wraps around everything, coordinating joiners, movers, and leavers. The goal isn't growth hacking or maximum convenience. It's operational consistency, auditability, and reducing regulatory and security risk at scale. Zero Trust flips the old trusted internal network idea. Instead of granting broad access after one login, it keeps asking for every action. Based on what I know right now, how risky is this? It looks at the device's health, the network being used, the user's location, and whether their behavior matches past patterns. Each request is scored, and access can be limited, stepped up, or revoked. The core mindset is simple. Never trust by default. Always verify continuously. Government identity systems are the legal backbone of digital life. When a state issues a national ID number, EID card, or digital wallet, it's not just another account. It's asserting, we recognize this person in law. That status cascades everywhere. Banks rely on it for strict KYC, telecoms for SIM registration, and cross-border schemes like eIDAS for recognition between countries. The upside is strong assurance and lower fraud. The downside is concentration. Whoever runs this infrastructure gains enormous visibility and power. Together, these four identity models show different ways of trading power, risk, and convenience. Centralized systems maximize control for each platform, but concentrate passwords and data into attractive breach targets. Federated login smooths user experience, yet deepens dependence on a few identity providers who can see almost everything. Enterprise IAM locks things down internally, but often makes external collaboration painful. Government EID offers strong assurance while raising civil liberties and exclusion concerns. None is perfect. Each tends to fail in a predictable way. Now zoom in on what this actually feels like for a person. Every major service recreates you from scratch, so you repeat KYC and onboarding again and again. Those profiles are stitched together with fragile links like email or phone that attackers can easily hijack. Meanwhile, your data is scattered across countless systems, and you have almost no visibility into where it sits or how it's used. You can think of today's identity landscape as a fortress built from mismatched parts. Users juggle so many accounts that password reuse becomes inevitable, so one breach often unlocks several doors. Once an attacker gets in, account takeover lets them move laterally across systems, using trusted access instead of breaking in again and again. And if multi-factor authentication is only enforced in some places, they'll always choose the weakest route. The result is both painful UX and a structural security problem. Digital identity isn't neutral infrastructure. It bakes in assumptions about people's lives. Most systems quietly assume you have government ID, a fixed address, and a smartphone with reliable connectivity. If you're undocumented, unhoused, or intermittently connected, those assumptions turn into hard barriers, not small inconveniences. The effect is a hidden form of redlining. Identity checks become gatekeepers for jobs, banking, housing, and even basic civic participation. In the end, design choices decide who counts as real enough to participate. Digital identity hasn't stalled because of missing technology. It's stalled because the main players are pulling in different directions. Platforms want lock-in and data to fuel their business models. Enterprises want rock-solid compliance and minimal liability. Governments want legal certainty and control. Users want instant, seamless experiences, often at odds with strict privacy or security. Any future architecture has to confront these incentives head-on, or at least make the trade-offs explicit. If it doesn't, fragmentation and stagnation will continue. As AI transforms identity, the old patchwork of passwords, static documents, and isolated databases simply won't hold. The emerging blueprint combines cryptographically verifiable, interoperable credentials, user-centric architectures that eliminate unnecessary silos, and AI-resilient defenses against automated fraud. Your next step is to decide where to start applying these principles in your own world.